not sitting next to Michael Cohen after that meeting last, what was it, Tuesday night was the meeting? They were at the hospital.
Good evening, everyone. I call this meeting of the Township of Union Planning Board to order. Sunshine notice, please.
Pursuant to the Open Public Meetings Law, notice of this meeting stating the time and place was satisfied by the filing of an annual notice with the local source and the Star Ledger, newspapers of general circulation within the Township of Union, and posted on the bulletin board of the Township of Union Municipal Building.
Roll call, please.
Mr. Alexander?
Here.
Mr. Cohan?
Here.
Ms. Espinoza? Mr. Frayne?
Here.
Mr. Miller?
Here.
Ms. Perkins?
Here.
Mayor Frazier? Committeewoman Terrell?
Here.
Ms. Khan?
Here.
Ms. Kalid? Chairman Lay.
Here. Can we swear in the engineer?
You swear the testimony that you'll give today will be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
I do.
Okay. We have the minutes from the February 26th meeting. Can I get a motion to approve the meeting minutes?
So moved.
Moved by Mr. Cohan. Is there a second?
Second.
Seconded by Mr. Frayne. Roll call, please.
Mr. Alexander?
Yes.
Mr. Cohan?
Yes.
Mr. Frayne?
Yes.
Mr. Miller?
Yes.
Ms. Perkins?
Yes.
Committeewoman Terrell?
Yes.
Ms. Khan?
Abstain.
Chairman Lay.
Yes. We will start with a presentation with the Center District Parking Assessment. Can I call the representative? Yes. And I assume we would need to swear him in as well.
That's fine. You ready? Raise your right hand. Please state and spell your name for the record.
Joseph Platt, J-O-S-E-P-H-P-L-A-T-T.
Do you swear the testimony you'll give today will be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
I do.
Please proceed.
Thank you for having me tonight. So tonight I wanted to review the Center District Parking Assessment that we did. I believe everybody's had a copy of our report. So tonight I just want to kind of go over very high level those findings and then answer any questions the planning board may have. Again, just recognize this is kind of a first step. This is a baseline assessment. This is a look at what's out there today and how things are and kind of the status of parking and the operations as it is today. There's a lot of things yet to be done as things go forward and things grow. But again, we just want to review today kind of the existing conditions and what our initial findings are. So here very quickly, we counted about 743 parking spaces over the municipal lots, structured parking, and curbside lots. The way we did this is through aerial surveys. We flew a drone through the township at regular intervals at a defined path. Then we were able to stitch all those images together, and it gave us actually a photo of what we're looking at. We can do real-time counts through that, and that gave us an historical record of what we found as well. At the garages themselves, we were able to record operations over an 18-hour period through video technology. And again, it gives us a video record of what we had, and also gives us the data that we're looking for. We also looked through some of the policies of the township. As I said, 743 parking spaces. 60% of those are off-street, so either in the garages or in the lots. We looked at 8 off-street municipal lots and the 2 private lots. And the images here show those lots, and we can get into those if you have specific questions. This is an example of the data that was collected. So this is one of the aerial shots that we had. Again, we flew these 7 a.m. to about 6 p.m. Throughout the day at regular intervals to kind of get these spots and time counts that we looked at. I just wanted to kind of show you, the images we were looking at and kind of the information we were trying to gather. System-wide, we found that parking supply is pretty good. You're at about a 60% demand right now, so you got some left out there to use. What we find is that it operates on a peak during the weekdays. You start seeing the peaks during the the lots are busier during the day. They kind of fall off. On the weekends, it's a little more steady. But again, what we're seeing overall, there's a adequate supply there. You're looking at a little more than half, 60% of your supply is being used at this point. Looked at 2 different ways. We looked at it on the weekday. We looked at it on the weekends, both in 12-hour periods. What we found, 61% of that usage was early afternoon and early evenings. seeing those lots being used afternoon and evenings. Off-street parking peak in the afternoon, again, kind of goes with the commercial district and what you see and what you might expect. Lot 31 was the peak. That was at 98% in the morning, but all the other lots were somewhere in the 80 to 85% range. On the weekend, a little heavier. But again, what we're seeing is about 81% of that on-street parking was used. There were several lots that experienced. Not high enough? Okay, I can try and talk a little louder. Again, we're seeing, a lot of the lots there was some usage, but you can see the green are those municipal lots. And on the weekends, we weren't seeing a lot of usage of the municipal lots. We were seeing a lot more in the parking garages and on the on-street. So the red kind of shows those on-street areas. The orange are the municipal, and then the greens are the greens are the municipal, the orange are the structured parking. We can start to kind of show where those demands are shifting. Again, just very quickly here, what we're looking at, what we compared at is there was a 2019 study and a 2026 study, and what we're showing is that the findings from previous studies are generally consistent with what we're finding again today. So again, that's kind of what this slide is just showing, is that, the thoughts and the analysis that was done back in 2019 is still carrying forward. A lot of the, thank you. A lot of the, there we go. A lot of the pressures we see are on the on-street side, and making sure you're getting those turnovers on the on-street parking. Again, these are curb hotspots, or these are those on-street parkings that we talked about. There were roadways, again, we're seeing 100% parking during the weekday and weekends. But those are your turnover lots. There's where you want them on your commercial lots. You want people parking there a couple hours and then moving on. And we're seeing very high utilization of those lots, maybe in deference to not parking in the lots. They were actually using the on-street parking. We did see some improper parking or on-street parking places where they shouldn't be. We've tried to highlight those on Morrison, Emerson, and Rosemont, where a couple of areas we saw parking that maybe shouldn't have been there at the time. Again, real quick, here's the imbalance that we were just talking about. Your curbside space is highly utilized. Your municipal lots, not quite as utilized. So that's really all we're saying here. There's some data there we can dig into. But overall, we see a lot of on-street parking. We see a lot less parking in your municipal lot. Turnover, that's something we want to look at on the on-street, because that's really what you want when you have your on-street parking, is make sure that it's turning over and it's not being occupied all day by those users. By and large, we found 91% of people were there less than 2 hours. There was a small percentage of people, 6%, that were there 2 to 4 hours, and an even smaller percent that were there over 4 hours. It was actually one that was there 10 hours. So that, overall, you're getting pretty good compliance on your on-street parking, with the exception of a couple outliers, and those are things that we can work to address in the future. Again, on-street parking, we saw a couple of areas where there's this improper parking, whether it be on-street. There were some loading zones and some areas that were striped that people were parking in and kind of making de facto parking spaces, running into a business and running back out. So we found some areas where people were just parking but maybe shouldn't have been. But overall, it was pretty minimal. And these areas here are kind of hotspot areas where we are seeing those at various points in time. We are seeing what we determine as improper parking along the curb lines. Again, this is just the lots themselves. You can see, we talked about the on-street being pretty busy, and these are, kind of representative of some of the municipal lots we are seeing. Very, very low utilization. The image is one on the weekday and the one is on the weekend. And again, we're seeing very low utilization of some of the lots. And the redevelopment parking, again, what we're seeing is it seems to be operating and functioning as it was intended. We see in those lots high utilization of them in the early morning hours, and then they drop down presumably when people are leaving for work or leaving for other things. So you see those occupancies drop down, and then throughout the day it kind of ramps back up. So what we were seeing is generally that was functioning the way it is during the weekday. On the weekends, we saw a little higher utilization because people weren't leaving quite as often. So those hot utilizations were still high. But we were still seeing that there was adequate space in those lots, based on those redevelopments. We did see a little bit of spillover into the residential area. It was very minimal, but we did see some weekend spillover, in and around the lots. We took anybody that was parked there on a Saturday morning, very early morning, as spillover, because we didn't observe them parking there, but they were there first thing in the morning when other parking was certainly available. So we took that as improper parking. Again, something we can look at. Over the course of our entire study, though, we found 13 vehicles improperly parked. So out of the 743 spaces that we found 13 of them, or found 13 vehicles that were improper. And then, here you see that represents about a 4% impact on the parking. A couple things that we want to look at are, just we want to shape the behavior of parking. Parking, people kind of just get used to what they're doing. So if you kind of give them a new norm to kind of shape that process, those are things we want to start working on. Things like pricing, things like timing. You can vary things by time of day or day a week, but just different concepts to kind of push people. Maybe you start incentivizing the lots when you see higher demands on the street. You can incentivize people to go to the lots through pricing or other functions. Certainly something like parking permits, if you get into that when it gets into a shared parking situation, or if it's for businesses, maybe get them into certain lots that may be a little further from their business, but it would incentivize them to use those lots, so the ones closer to their business can be utilized by patrons and residents. And then the development policy, that's something, that's an ongoing thing. You always want to make sure that what you're doing is congruent with what the development is doing and that your parking is still there. Like I said, we're looking at about a 60% supply right now. So you got some excess, but that's something you constantly got to monitor, and you just want to make sure that as you're going through it, you're making those decisions almost in real time. Because, you can shift this around, but it's really getting the people there. So you want to make sure that what you're doing is putting people where you want them to be. Again, some near-term adjustments that we were just thinking about is working with the police departments to refine enforcement. I was going to say reinforce, refine enforcement. Like knowing where those hot spots are, knowing where we were seeing those improper parking, just make them aware of that so that they can get that on a loop. And they can get that as part of their patrols, as they know that there's a persistence of improper parking here. It's just something, again, just very, very minor stuff that can be done, throughout the course of a normal shift of a police officer, that can just kind of reinforce that. Because, once the enforcement occurs, maybe that behavior may change. Wayfinding is always an important part. Just having people know where those lots are may encourage them to get there. You can get very technical and get into very high level, type signage that tells you how many spaces and how many lots all throughout the township, or just have better signage that says that there's a lot here, and again, just strongly encourage them to kind of push them to that location. Optimizing your curb spaces, looking at the times along your curb space, looking if there's ways to incorporate some kind of loading zones or short-term things for businesses, recognizing they need that curb space too. Are there improvements we can make along the curb line? Just to kind of optimize that, and again, force that turnover, because the curbside is where you really want people turning over as quick as they can, so that they're not camping out there all day. If they're planning to be there multiple hours, you want them in the lots. You don't want them on the curb line. And anything you do, you want to monitor those changes. Anything, you just want to make sure that you're making the right decisions. You're doing them incrementally, so that you can see that had a positive impact. And then look at other ones. If it didn't have a positive impact or didn't have the impact you intended, you can have a chance to refine that, and you're not jumping all in and going crazy with it. Again, these are some very high-level strategies that we're looking at, is working on, key performance indicators, is looking at, you have your curb line, you have about a 91% compliance on your curb line, for example. Do you want to make that 95%? Do you want to make it, is 91 okay? You kind of pick that so that you make sure you're benchmarking what you intend and make sure that the policies and decisions you're making are beating that. The payment in lieu of parking, using those fundings and prioritizing those fundings for enhancements. You can do those to enhance the signage, enhance the streetscape, enhance the visibility of parking. Again, attracting people to where the lots are. So they're not just driving around looking for spaces or circling blocks looking for on-street spaces. You're giving them some kind of enhancement or incentive to go to these lots. Shared parking, always an opportunity there for shared parking. Looking or incentivizing ways for businesses that maybe are a 9 to 5 business and their lots are empty during the evening hours, but maybe there's an opportunity for them to enter into some other agreement. Again, that's a complicated situation because you're dealing with businesses and other entities, but if there's ways to incentivize that work for everybody, certainly the town can benefit from that. And then curbside management maybe is a little bit more lofty of really what's going on in your curbside, looking at locations for loading, looking at Uber and Lyft drop off and pick up area. Like there's all sorts of things that can kind of come with curbside management. Not just parking, it happens along the curb line. So really coming up with a way to make sure you have people accessible to where they want to be and giving them options is really what that comes down to. So with that, I know I went through a lot here. I wanted to leave some time for questions and kind of just talk through some of the data that we were finding.
Thank you for your presentation. Questions from the board?
Yeah, I have a question about the payment in lieu of parking.
Yes.
Obviously, that's from a developer who has a parking deficiency.
Yes.
How does that help us? We get money, but there's still no parking.
Correct. So I'm not saying you would accept payment in lieu of. I would say if you have an opportunity for that, and it's funding available to you. I'm not maybe suggesting take a payment in lieu of parking to do things. I'm just saying if there's that funding stream in the township, and there's an opportunity to do it, maybe it's not something you want to consider now because you want to prioritize the parking. Again, it's just something, tools in your toolbox, whether it's today or 3 years from now or maybe never. We're just trying to put some tools out there for you.
Thank you.
Question, what's the time frame you did this study on? What month was this?
We did these, what was the month? It was right before the big blizzard. That was in January? Early February? Yeah, so it was the Thursday before it and a Saturday before it because it snowed and we were trying to rush to make sure that our pilots were safe getting home because we had wrapped it up right around 7 p.m. that evening. And the blizzard came in somewhere around 9 or so, but yeah, it was right around that time. And again, this is a snapshot. I mean, I've talked to Vince about it. This is like having this baseline, but again, it's real time. And with these drones, like you can do this. You can have the video. You can go back and look at it. But you can also do that at regular intervals. If you want to look at it in the springtime, you want to look at how seasonal shifts happen. You can do all of that. But to establish a baseline, we thought that was pretty representative. There's not a whole lot of demand outside of life that would alter that.
Mr. Platt?
Yes, sir.
In your opinion, do you believe that there is enough parking in town for all the programs, the development that's going on? Do you believe that there's enough?
So I personally am not familiar with every project going on in the township and knowing all of the details. I can say that you have excess parking now. We were showing you have 60% of your parking utilized, so you have 40% excess parking is what I can tell you. It would be unfair to say that what you have is good or not because I have not studied each and every one of those developments to say that. What we looked at is what you have, and we say that you have excess parking within the township to the tune of about 40%.
And what is that in numbers, in spots?
40% of 743 is, Vince, can you help me?
280
It's about 280, 285
All right,
spaces.
okay, just want to make sure.
Yeah, and I believe a recent structure just came online. That's not included in this data as well.
Okay.
So there was it a couple of weeks ago one came online. Our data predated that, so you have even more space out there now that's not being utilized. But unfortunately, that's not in our data right now.
Okay, thank you.
Yep.
Any further questions from the board? Just a quick question on my end, and I know you talk about prioritizing funding investments into pedestrian access. And as I saw your report, it was very striking to me about the Stowe Street lot. I do believe it's lot 8. That was one of the most underutilized municipal lots. Would you say as part of what you would recommend to the township is that not only in terms of utilization of the pilots, but also really considering that as part of a planning consideration as further developments would come to the center, that can we find ways to increase that pedestrian access so that as more developments would come in, that component is being taken into account so that hopefully it would move more residents, patrons of businesses to utilize those lots.
So I think if I understand your question is, can you have private industry fund some of those improvements and look at as part of their projects?
Like basically, how do we, leveraging the information that you have, how do we encourage and leverage that information to incentivize and encourage developers to also consider increasing pedestrian access to those underutilized lots?
Yeah, so I think that would be one of those near term, is looking at your policies and kind of drilling down on that and seeing where we can insert those things and insert those concepts. And what triggers that and how that all works through the land development process is something I think we'd have to do a little more digging into how that happens.
Right.
Can it happen? It likely can. The mechanisms and the actual execution of that will take a little time to work through how that would look like.
Understandable. Thank you. Any further questions?
Mr. Chairman?
Yes.
Hey, Joe, thank you for this. One of the things that's come up, and I know we've talked to some of the administration about it, is currently in our redevelopment area, we have one-for-one parking. So, each one of the units has just one parking space associated with it. I know you do this stuff in multiple states. What you found here in this study, is the one-for-one working here?
Yeah, by and large, what we're seeing is that strategy and what you're doing now seems to be working. It may just take a little education of where people need to go, but by and large, that strategy seems to be working, at least through the developments that you've seen and kind of the pressures.
I do know that it's a goal to increase that a little bit, to give it a little bit more of a buffer so that the developers are, in future developments are looking at, 1.2 or something like that, just to give a little bit more. Do you in favor of that?
Yeah, I think we'd have to look at that, and again, it's maybe looking at where those excesses are and where the development is, and can you reach it? Because it certainly doesn't make sense that you have to walk 2/3 of a mile to have an excess parking. So you really want to tie it to, is the parking in the area where the development is? If it's not, then yeah, increased parking requirements certainly make sense, because it's less likely somebody's going to work 3/4 of a mile in the rain to get to their resident. Usually a couple, 1,500 feet's about where you're going to be.
For the benefit of the public, the vast public that's here, I know that one of the things that you're being charged with going forward is coming up with potential ordinance changes, looking at more traffic patterns and circulation. So that's going to have a lot to do with it as well. So I think that this is a story, and I'd like, hopefully the administration will let you come and talk to the planning board periodically. And I know that we're going to be seeing you on larger applications representing the board, so I look forward to that.
Yeah, exactly. Like, again, this is baseline information, just kind of give you the status of where you're at. Like we said, there's a lot of things that can be done, how quickly or how slowly or how important they are, we kind of got to work through. But, certainly just as a snapshot, it was looking, pretty favorable, but certainly room for improvement.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Any further questions from the board? Questions from the public? Well, thank you very much for your presentation, and we look forward to working with you further down the road.
Thank you, everybody. Have a good evening.
You too. All right. So before we go into further business, I'm going to ask that we move to go into executive session to discuss pending legal matters. So can I get a motion?
So moved.
Moved by Mr. Cohan. Is there a second?
Second.
Seconded by Mrs. Perkins. Roll call, please.
Mr. Alexander?
Yes.
Mr. Cohan?
Yes.
Mr. Frame?
Yes.
Mr. Miller?
Yes.
Ms. Perkins?
Yes.
Committeewoman Terrell? Ms. Khan?
Yes.
Chairman Lay.
Yes, and we will be back soon.
Okay. plate and all. If you have me. That's too much paper.
Need some room here.
Yeah.
Diana, are you good?
I'm good, sir.
E, are you good? Okay, we're going to go back into open session now.
Public session?
Yes. Moved by Mrs. Perkins to leave executive session, seconded by Mr. Cohen. Roll call, please.
Mr. Alexander?
Yes.
Mr. Cohan?
Yes.
Mr. Frame?
Is he?
Mr. Frame? I'll call my thinking just, Mr. Miller?
Yes.
Ms. Perkins?
Yes.
Committeewoman Terrell? Yes. Ms. Khan? Yes. Mr. Frame?
Yes.
Chairman Lay?
Yes. Can I get a motion to approve the resolution authorizing the board to execute the settlement agreement to resolve ongoing litigation with American Landmark?
So moved.
Moved by Mr. Cohan. Is there a second?
Second.
Seconded by Mr. Frayne. Roll call, please.
Mr. Alexander?
Yes.
Mr. Cohan?
Yes.
Mr. Frame?
Yes.
Mr. Miller?
Yes.
Ms. Perkins?
Abstain?
Committeewoman Terrell?
Yes.
Ms. Khan?
Yes.
Chairman Lay?
Yes. All right, we will now go into new business. Application 2025-11, amended American Landmark. I call on Mr. Hale, the representative.
Yes. Good evening, Mr. Chairman and board member Stephen Hale, representing the applicant, American Landmark amended application for Phase 4 of the project. And just by way of background, board members, Mr. Chairman, this application involves, the board previously approved Phase 4, Section 4 of the American Landmark project, which is fronting on Stuyvesant Avenue, and the original approval was for 54 units and approximately 9,800 square feet of commercial space. Amended 4, which is generally consistent with the redevelopment plan that's in place for that area, increased the number of units, residential units, by 38, bringing it to a total of 92 units and approximately 14,000 square feet of commercial space. Just again, by way of overview, at the October hearing before this board, we had the testimony of our architect, our engineer, our traffic engineer, and I might say thank you for the presentation of Mr. Platt, because his findings were generally consistent with that of Joseph Steiger of Dynamic Engineering with respect to the adequacy of the parking. And then we had our planner, Nicholas Graviano, provide the justification for the minor relief that was sought in connection with the application. So again, the project involves the increase in those units. We did have detailed testimony, and I provided my summation at this time. And if the board has any further questions, but we would look forward to the board approving of this application so we can move forward with the balance of the project.
Thank you, Mr. Hale. Any further questions or comments from the board? Hearing none, can I get a motion to approve application 2025-11, amended American Landmark?
Mr. Chairman, if I could just make one statement.
Sure.
Yeah. Just from an engineering perspective, I want to close the loop here. Based on the report that was talked about tonight by Traffic Planning Design, the center district parking assessment, we at Colliers find that there is adequate parking in the neighborhood in the central district for Phase 4 of this application. So we have no objection to this moving forward.
Okay. All right. So with that, can I get a motion to approve the application?
So moved.
Moved by Mr. Cohan. Is there a second?
Second.
Seconded by Mr. Frayne. Roll call, please.
Mr. Alexander?
Yes.
Mr. Cohan?
Yes.
Mr. Frame?
Yes.
Mr. Miller?
Yes.
Ms. Perkins?
Yes. Yes for Phase 4, yes.
Committeewoman Terrell?
Yes.
Ms. Khan? Yes. Chairman Lay?
Yes.
Thank you very much again for your time and efforts in this regard.
Thank you, Mr.
Enjoyed
Hale.
working with you on this.
We do have the resolution tied to the application, so we will now entertain a motion to approve the resolution pertaining to the application. Can I get a motion?
Motion.
Moved by Committeewoman Terrell. Is there a second?
Second.
Seconded by Mr. Cohan. Roll call, please.
Mr. Alexander?
Yes.
Mr. Cohan?
Yes.
Mr. Frame?
Yes.
Mr. Miller?
Yes.
Ms. Perkins?
Yes.
Committeewoman Terrell?
Yes.
Ms. Khan? Yes. Chairman Lay.
Yes.
Thank you again, and have a great night.
Thank you, Mr.
Appreciate
Hale.
your time.
You too. All right. Last on our new business is application 2026-02, 2735 Route 22 Associates. Can the representative please approach?
Good evening, everyone. Lisa Lamello, I'm going to try and get this to my height. I see your side. Lisa Lamello from Murphy, Schiller & Wilkes. On behalf of the applicant, 2735 Route 22 Associates. This application is related to what we discussed as the old Clinton Manor site. It is the old Clinton Manor site. The applicant has already demolished all the buildings on site and done significant cleanup on site. Although the entity name is the landowner, the group is associated with the Open Road Group, which operates Chevy and Subaru, which are obviously right next to this lot. The area is that this property's in is in the amended Clinton Manor redevelopment plan. So the applicant is here tonight for approval of their Phase 1 site plan. The eventual plan for the site is to have an automobile dealership at the site. Until that time, now that the buildings are down, the site's been cleaned up, the intention is to have this a parking lot, a vehicle storage lot that will supplement the Open Road Subaru's site. Open Road Subaru's site is small for industry standards. For auto dealerships are typically about 3 acres. This one is 1 acre. So it really provides the applicant with the opportunity to use the site to improve site circulation for the Subaru site. If anyone's driven down Route 22, when they're getting deliveries of cars, to see that the tractor trailer, the car carrier comes and is right on the shoulder, that issue will be eliminated, and it will function really as one property until the applicant is able to source a dealership for the site. Obviously, the auto dealership is not immune to some of the government issues going on, tariffs and the EV credits, which are sort of no longer favored, and increased gas prices. So the auto industry is taking a hit a bit. So this allows the applicant to use the lot in a way that supports Subaru until they can get the right dealership in to support, that fits along that corridor and that would support a township. So we're here tonight. I'm kind of excited to present what will go on that former site. We have, excuse me, Andrew French is our engineer who will present tonight, and we have we have witnesses on behalf of the applicant. The owner himself was unable to attend this evening, but he has some representatives here in his stead. So.
Yes. Andrew French, A-N-D-R-E-W, French, F-R-E-N-C-H.
Do you swear the testimony you'll give today will be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
Yes, I do.
Okay.
I first want to apologize to the board. It's been a few years since I've been here, and I see the nice monitors up here, and I brought some boards. So if you could just bear with me, I'll set them up here so you can see them, and if there's any questions, certainly let me know.
And we'll need to have Mr. Franks qualified as a expert in civil engineering. Mr. Franks, can you provide us with your educational background and licensure?
Yes, I graduated from NJIT with a Bachelor of Science degree in civil engineering. I'm a professional licensed engineer in the state of New Jersey. Been practicing engineering for the past 25 years. I've been in front of numerous boards as a site plan presentation as site plan engineering.
And your license is in good standing?
Yes,
Board stipulates.
thank you.
Thank you.
Okay. And it'll be able to show up on the board, on the screens? Is that good? Oh, okay. So this is a existing conditions aerial plan from 2024. What we've done is, in yellow, we've highlighted the subject property. And the purpose of this plan was just to give the board the site itself back in 2024. As Lisa had mentioned, this is the former Clinton Manor Hotel and Banquet Facility. And you can see on the plan here, the existing buildings are situated in 2024. As part of the redevelopment plan, the applicant was requested by the township to demolish and remove those buildings, which he's done to clean up the site. So from that perspective, there's been a betterment already out there on the site of what the conditions are. But this gives you a perspective of the surrounding uses. To the west and north of our site is county-owned property. As you can see up here in the blue, in the top portion of the exhibit is the Rawway River. And the purposes I'm showing this is, there's nothing wrong right behind or to the side of the subject property. But the Rawway River also has a flood hazard area associated with it and riparian buffer. And in the engineer's review letter made mention about that. So this exhibit shows the green dash line that's as close to the river is a riparian buffer. The lighter aqua cyan color blue is the flood hazard area associated with the Rawway River. The purpose of showing this is that it's not on the subject property. So DEP permits are not required. There's no work being done in environmental sensitive areas.
And just for the record, this is, we'll mark this as Exhibit A1.
Yes.
Because I didn't want to interrupt, but I wanted to get you at the pause.
Yep. So furthermore, the property is 2735 Route 22. It's got frontage on Route 22, about 347 feet of frontage, irregular shaped lot, where a portion of the lot does go behind the existing Subaru dealership. It's 4.23 acres. The surrounding property, again, the county is on the west and the north. On the east side of the property is the Chevy dealership. And as indicated, the Subaru kind of is the notch of the property. That's the irregular shape there. So on the other side of Route 22, on the south side, again, is just commercial uses along that portion of 22. So. Just want to grab the site plan, just.
And Drew, actually, if you could, if you want to just keep the existing conditions for 1 second. On the existing conditions plan, I believe there was it was in the county, in the engineering review letter, that there was some encroachment of the asphalt onto the county property, which you can see in this plan that has been removed, and Drew will show that the applicant's also done that work as well already. Remove that.
Yeah, so on the north side of the property, there's, you can see, if you look closely, it's actually tractor trailer containers and asphalt pavement that extended beyond the property line north into the county's property. What the applicant has done, as he's gone in there and part of the demolition and the cleanup of the site, he's removed those trailers, the pavement. There was a lot of garbage and debris back there off his property. He's removed that and cleaned it up at this point in time.
Question. So that was from the Clinton Manor owners, that was an encroachment on the county's property?
Yes, that's correct. So this is from 2024, March of 2024, before the applicant purchased the property. And then once he purchased it, the idea was he was instructed and requested to take down the buildings and clean up the property. So at that moment in time, he's doing what he thinks is right. In the back of the property, all those trailers and pavements beyond it, he had removed that. So this next exhibit is actually just the site plan that was part of the application that was submitted to the board, just to give you an idea of what the proposed improvements are. I mean, they are minor in nature. What the applicant has done, you can see in gray here, is where the buildings were located. So he went back there, he removed those buildings, and to have a stable, secure space, instead of just leaving holes in the ground, he went and he paved those areas to get it to be a stable, flat surface. You know.
Quick comment, are these exhibits marked?
The first exhibit was marked. This was submitted with the site plan, so this is not an exhibit, and then any other ones will.
Okay, all right.
Yeah, I'm sorry. This is sheet 3 of 8. The site plan is part of the application.
Got it. Thank you.
You're welcome. So, so part of the improvements are that he was going to use this for outdoor vehicle storage and propose striping it so that there's utilizing the existing access driveways off of Route 22. There's 3 points that currently exist into the property. They will remain, stay the same. Then it's going to be striped out to have, you know, typically like a storage for parking, two-way, 24-foot wide access aisles, 9 by 18 parking spaces, situated so that there's good circulations around internally in the site. The other minor improvements is, besides the striping and the pavement, is proposed site lighting, and that's for illuminating it for not only the use of the vehicles, but for security purposes as well. So the lighting is to be consistent with the redevelopment plan requirements. They're 25-foot high light poles. They're the low-profile LED fixtures that that just illuminate downward. When I say low profile, they're very thin so that it's not a big head on the lights themselves. The lighting design is complying with the requirements except for one design waiver we're requesting. The redevelopment plan has a standard of maximum intensity of foot candles of 7, whereas right below the light fixtures themselves, where they direct the light down, there is some spots that are greater than 7 foot candles, that maximum. There's some that are 14.7. This is very common on site lighting, where you're going to have that lighting that's a little more intense right below the fixture itself. But the lighting complies with all the other standards. It's nice uniform lighting throughout. It's really the purposes for security out here, but it is compliant other than that one design waiver we're requesting. I don't know if there's any other questions. I had another exhibit I wanted to go over, some circulation of the vehicles. I guess this would be Exhibit A2 because it was not part of the application. This is vehicular circulation plan, sheet 1 of 1, dated November 19th, 2025. It's got a revision date of 3/24/26. So as part of the review letter we received from the engineer, there was questions about the site circulation. So on the left-hand side, this shows the car carrier, how it comes in off of Route 22, comes through the existing driveway, comes onto the property, allows the unloading of the vehicles on the property in the front, and then is able to pull back using the existing driveway back onto Route 22. This is certainly a benefit. As Lisa mentioned, we don't want them unloading the cars out on Route 22. It'll all happen on the site. There's plenty of room in the front using the existing driveways. The other, on the right-hand side, this is actually showing the fire truck circulating through the site. So the way that we've laid it out with the drive aisles and the parking configuration, the fire truck, again, can come through the existing driveway, circulate around the site, and then exit out the existing driveways. So we wanted to show these just to, address the comments from the engineer's review letter.
And in addition, well, we went through the comments for the vehicle circulation as well. The stormwater, existing stormwater system, we know was repaired.
Yeah, so when they were out doing the demolition work, they also did some repair of the existing storm sewer system. I know in the engineer's review letter, it made mention about the discrepancy of the land disturbance versus, how much work was done out there. So the demolition activity and the land disturbance was less than an acre, of 0.96 acres. The other mention about the entire site, well, they did do some mill and overlay of the pavement to freshen it up, but the purpose of that was to have a nice clean surface, to betterment the property. But that mill and overlay is not considered land disturbance when it comes to stormwater. It's just like a maintenance if somebody goes and mills and overlays their parking lot and so forth. So from a stormwater management perspective, we feel this is not a major development. It is, as you can see on the original aerial photograph, the entire site is covered in buildings or pavement under the existing condition. So on the proposed condition, there's no stormwater being proposed other than the repair of the existing storm sewer system that's out there.
And also in the review letter, there's the engineer review letter, there's mention of, we testified to previously, there was some encroachment in the county, on the county parkland that was from the prior owner, that was removed. There's also, in part of the cleanup of the garbage, and we have some, we have representatives of Open Road here to describe, if the board wants to hear, to describe what was in that county parkland in terms of, not just fallen trees, which is in the report, but garbage and hotel furniture and anything that you could think of if you, I drive down Route 22 all the time. If you can imagine what the front of Clinton Manor looked like, you could imagine what the back of Clinton Manor looked like into the woods. So it's in the review letter, so we'll address it. We were working with the county on resolving some of the trees that were, either inadvertently or mistakenly or overzealously removed as part of the, yards and yards of garbage that were taken out of there. And if the board has any question as to sort of facts and what was taken out, that we have representatives here who can speak to that as well. I know Mr. Campbell from the county is also here to speak to those issues as well.
So back to the stormwater runoff. Given that the application suggests that there will be 100% impervious coverage,
Yes.
and the previous impervious coverage notwithstanding, you stated that you were working on the existing sewer system that was there, the stormwater sewer system. Have you tested it to ensure that there is going to be adequate stormwater runoff, that are there retention basins, do they work, where does the water flow to?
Yeah, it's certainly a good question. So this is the traditional storm sewer drainage system where it has inlets out there, collects it from the runoff from the impervious surface, and then it's piped, and the pipes have the capacity to carry the flow from your normal storm events, your 10, 25-year storm events. It has the capacity to convey that flow. It ultimately goes through the rear of the property and then eventually discharges back into the river. Most of the properties along here, I would imagine, have the same conditions where, those storm sewer, with the river being behind there, that's where it would discharge. But in this particular case, there's existing drainage structures that are piping underground and then eventually does discharge to the river.
And do they require any review and approval by the DEP?
No, because that's already an existing condition. We are not doing anything affecting the actual discharge into the river or nothing off our property. We were just doing when I say repair, there's existing structures out there. They're resetting them up to the grades from the disturbance of taking the buildings down and resituating them, but we're not installing new drainage out to the river.
Okay, and the structures that you're referring to, are they designated on the site drawings that you provided?
Yeah, so if you look on sheet 2, which is existing conditions, they are shown on that because they're existing conditions. On the site plan, they're also shown, but again, they're existing conditions, so they're not highlighted, so to speak, because we're not proposing to construct those.
Gotcha.
Does that make sense? I did want to point out 2 things, too, in the engineer's review letter. One was about the DEP that we spoke about, and, you know, based on my first testimony about it's not being in the flood hazard area or the riparian buffer, we're not disturbing any of the environmental sensitive areas with DEP. So our opinion that DEP permit is not required. Similar in nature, in the report it mentions about DOT approval. Again, on Route 22, there's 3 access driveways onto our property. We are not changing those. They're remaining the same. The actual intensity of this use is outdoor vehicle storage of cars. You know, the traffic coming in here is, you know, the car carrier is going to come in there, you know, very infrequently to bring in and distribute the cars. But a DOT requires permits if you have an increase of 100 trips in a peak hour or 500 trips in a day. So we're not going to meet those thresholds. So our opinion that DOT approval isn't required to keep the existing driveways and for this low intensity use that we're proposing here.
There's also a comment in the review letter seeking testimony about snow removal, how that would be handled on site. Again, we have representatives of Open Road here. If the board wants to hear that testimony, I will say I've spoken to them already, and ultimately, snow removal is one of the biggest jobs on a car dealership site. It is done by their contractor professionals, and that is managed. Certainly, the witnesses here could provide contractor names or whoever does that, but that's part of their winter management. As we know from this past winter, it was a big job. So, but that was a comment, and we could certainly provide more information for the board if they have questions on that. And I also want to speak to a comment in the review letter about some provisions in the redevelopment plan that require, after 2 years of this being approved as an outdoor vehicle site, to have the use remains a permitted use. The redevelopment plan requires the applicant to add fencing and to add landscaping. The redevelopment plan was passed in August of 2025. Since that time, we know the struggles of the auto industry. And again, representatives can speak to this, but certainly all of these companies that geared up for EV engines are now without the credits available, and support for those are now stuck trying to switch back to gasoline engines while having issues with tariffs. Anybody who has tried to get their car fixed recently probably knows how the tariffs are affecting that, and now with oil supply being an issue, and so certainly the board has the power to lessen the effect of that requirement, either through waiver or through in essence really through waiver, which would allow the applicant a little more time to get the right dealership in without having to go back and ultimately put up a wrought iron fence along the frontage and some landscaping buffers to then take them out again once the dealership is set. In this industry, whatever the dealership is, dictates what the building will look like and the size of the building and other features. And so ultimately it would be, if in 2 years' time a site plan is not approved for that dealership, which is the intention, it would end up, in essence, being punitive to have these site designs, site elements, improvements placed on the site, only to take them out again once the dealership that is sourced advises of their building requirements. So we would ask for relief from that as well.
Yeah, I mean,
Let's-
part of that is too, I just add, I mean, the ultimate goal of this applicant is to have 2 dealerships on this property. I mean, that's how he's going to generate the finances to make this work. He spent a tremendous amount of buying that property and then cleaning it up, meaning taking all those buildings down, and it's a much better condition than it was then. You know, he is anxious to get a dealership here. That's his business. That's how he's going to thrive. But as Lisa mentioned, the EV setback, the tariffs, you know, the stuff that's going on now, the automobile industry is been, you know, going through some difficult times. So he wants to make sure that when he gets a dealership, he gets the right deal, and it's the right dealership to be here, so that it's, you know, something proud for Union Township for many, many years to come. I just think he needs a little more than that 2-year opportunity to make that right decision for not only himself, but the community as well.
Unless the board has any other questions for Mr. French, or we can, or any questions for the representatives of the dealership, we'll call them up as well.
I have a question. With regard to the 2 years, I just want to understand, is it a minimum, so you want relief for that, right, the 2 years, because it might take longer to find the right dealership?
Sorry.
Is that, I'm sorry, I'm
No,
sorry.
no, that's okay. I couldn't see you. I was trying to figure out where you were.
Like, where
Yeah.
is she? Yeah. So is it, so you need time to find the right dealership, I understand that. Is it a minimum of 2 years, but it could be longer? Like, I'm just trying to understand
So-
what the thought is about in the
So
time frame.
in 2 years, as pointed out in the, in Collier's letter, in 2 years, the use is still permitted. So this can still be outdoor vehicle storage for the Subaru. But a fence will be required along, about 50 feet back from the frontage, a metal picket fence along the frontage. And there will be landscape islands within the sort of drive aisle spaces. You know, the intention is to have a dealership here. We all know what was on this site before. We all know the tax liens and, you know, that affected the purchase price for this. Ultimately, Subaru's right next door, so it made sense. The applicant took the buildings down. I mean, he really has put effort into this, but this is not a sustainable lot for Subaru. If it was, you know, frankly, we would have consolidated the lots and we would have called it a day. We wouldn't have even needed to really amend the redevelopment plan. The idea is getting a dealership or 2 dealerships onto this lot. You know, things change quickly in this political environment, and so at 2 years' time, you know, it becomes frustrating because it creates a situation where you're not able to bring the right dealership in. You're bringing a dealership in because of having to put fences up, or putting those fences up and then having the dealership, you know, dictate where the building's going to go, what the building's going to look like, whether there's a port, you know the word I'm trying to think of.
Port cochere?
Port cochere, thank you, in front of it. Those type of elements are all dictated by the dealership. You know, the color of the facade, whether there's landscaping in front, whether there's all windows in front, all of this is dictated by the dealership itself, not by the property owner or, you know, sort of operator as open road. So those provisions then become punitive. But the idea is this does not work as a parking lot. So the intention is to get that dealership in. And so we're really just looking to avoid that, you know, effect of that.
Thank you.
You're
I do have one question relative to the inventory that will be parked there. We are familiar with these, what I would call storage lots. Will the vehicles there be operational?
Yeah, so this is not what you would consider a storage lot. This is an extension of Subaru.
Okay.
So this is vehicle inventory.
Inventory.
So when, you know, you go to buy a car, you go inside, and then this is areas where customers are going to walk to, you know, potentially look at cars.
Yeah.
And this is it is not in what I think of as vehicle storage, is sort of behind these fences.
I understand.
Yeah,
Wrong word, but.
not that.
My point is, are they operational?
Absolutely, yeah, these are new cars that you can
So,
drive off the lot.
Other than the good lighting and the obvious location, will there be any other security?
So there is security on site. I don't want to get too much into the details on public record, but there is security. There's all sorts of cameras. In fact, the applicant already works with the police department for Subaru and Chevy, what's there.
I need to know.
Yeah, so.
Thank you. I agree with you about on the record.
Yeah, and we have a representative,
Hi.
who can speak to this.
Good evening.
Hello.
Hi.
Please just spell and state your name for the record.
Sure. Timothy Comparato, TimothyComparato.
Do you swear the testimony you provide today will be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
Yes, I do. So it's not a typical storage lot.
No, I used the wrong term.
Yeah,
but-
no, it's more vehicle display.
Yes.
We're able to
Okay.
keep more vehicles on site for the customers to view.
Mm-hmm.
As far as security, we have tons of security that we work directly with Union PD with. The fence and the landscaping, as Lisa mentioned, is tough because depending on which manufacturer we're able to come to a dealer agreement with and open, they have their requirements and they're all different. So if we open a Ford store, they may say you can't have that fence. If we open a BMW store, it all depends on the manufacturer and what they require for their image. And the property is geo-fenced with cameras. They're all motion detected. As soon as someone enters property off hours, then, there's a company handling that.
Thank you.
Yes.
That's my question, really.
Was there anything else I can answer for you?
I have a question. I just would like to hear more about the issues that you have with the county and how those issues are going to be mitigated.
Sure.
Sure. I can speak to that. And Mr. Campbell, County Counsel, is here as well. We've been actively working with the county to resolve issues. There were trees. Ultimately, I guess the applicant was also fooled by the fencing and the tarmac where it was. There was some trees taken down, and we are working with the county actively to address those issues. And Mr. Campbell could speak to that as well. But our position is we have always been a willing participant to resolve this. This is a site plan application, in essence, a fully conforming site plan application, not the appropriate forum to negotiate with the county. However, we will work with the county. We have been working with the county to try and get this resolved. Certainly, if the county asks us to put landscape or whatever on the county property, we will work through, we'll negotiate with that, and I'm not speaking to you directly because of it, but we will certainly work with the county on those issues. The applicant understands it has to be done.
So are the issues just related to the trees?
At this
Or is
point-
it
at this-
other things?
So at this point, I believe it is just the trees. The county also wants a demarcation so that there is no further encroachment, and we will work with the county on that as well and come to terms and an agreement on that. There are light poles that are existing that encroach on the county, that are, I don't know if actually they don't encroach. I believe there must be utility easement. They're PSE&G poles that are on the county lot that were in the letter submitted by the county. The applicant would take them down if he could. They're just not his property. It's county property and PSE&G poles, but would be willing to do that as well.
So should you get approval, how soon are you planning to start putting cars on the property? And are those issues with the county going to be resolved before you start putting cars on that property?
So it is our hope that the issues with the county are a separate issue. That the cars could just be parked there. That's our request. The applicant has been actively negotiating these issues with the counties for some time, really for almost a year now, and we'll continue to do so. There's no issue there. I think, again, if holding up a permit or whatnot because of county issue, I don't know if that's supported by the land use law, but that does not stop the parties from negotiating, and we've been actively negotiating to try and resolve it.
And just as a point of information, on the engineer's letter 8.2, that you would also have to have the appropriate approvals from such things such as the Union County Planning Board and Park Environmental Services anyway, before the issuance of a SIP, right? So.
Yeah,
Yeah.
of course. I don't know that that there's county planning board approval actually required for this application. But whatever outside agency approvals are required certainly would be obtained.
Okay.
Yeah, so typically Union County Planning Board is required if you're on a frontage of a county property or you're have an impact on a county drainage system. So in this particular case, you know, we're on Route 22, which is a state highway. Again, we're not changing the driveways. Our drainage system is not changing. So, you know, the county might have a different perspective, but my perspective is, yeah, that jurisdiction is not warranted for what we're proposing here. You know, certainly defer to your engineer as well as his thoughts, but, you know, not being said about the other item, that's different, though.
Yeah, Mr. Chairman, if I could just weigh in
Yes.
here. First off, I want to thank the applicant for taking down the buildings. I think it was very important administration. But beyond that, I think it's really important for everyone to realize that the site, all the site work's essentially been completed out there, and it's being parked currently, right? So there's pavement that's done, the striping's done, the lighting is partially done out there. So, you know, I mean, we're talking about something that's already completed. So I think that it's important that we put conditions in any approval that we have to make sure that all that work is verified that it was done as per plan, right? Because the paving's been done, right? The striping's been done. The striping's done. I was out there this afternoon. It looks like it was all striped.
There's striping, there's no striping, there's no striping on the lot. Obviously, it was milled and paved as part of the demolition process. And there are light stanchions that have been constructed using the old conduits, but there's no striping.
So I think we have to figure out, I have no problem with anything. You know, Drew's addressed all of our concerns.
Sure.
The concerns that remain for us is that, yes, you take care of the county issues, because I think they go hand in hand with the town. Right?
And that will absolutely be done. I mean, you know, frankly, the county has enforcement authority over their land, and the issues that stem from the county is on their land. So the county has the ultimate hammer of enforcement here, but that's not even really an issue. We've been actively negotiating with them. I mean, nobody's trying to skirt around the issues. You know, as I said here, there's trees taken down. They'll be resolved. County wants barriers put up so that there's no further encroachment. We'll take care of that.
Listen, I'm not trying to be argumentative, but I am trying to say that our record, I believe, needs to be clear, right, that you're still in violation of another pre-approval that we typically put in our approvals. So we say, hey, we want to make sure you take care of the county. We want to make sure you take care of the soils. We want to make sure. Having said that, you don't really have a CO here. You're already parking the site, right? Maybe it's not completely striped the way we want. You're already parking a lot of cars there. I don't think we're kicking you off, right? But I don't think we're also going to give you a blanket approval to say, hey, everything's wonderful here without conditions, because it's not. Because any work that you did with previous conduit, with paving, we have to make sure that it meets the standards. So I think that any approval is going to be conditioned upon you doing what you were supposed to do, right? Now, you went ahead and you did it first. We understand. I thank you for doing some things that we wanted done. You went a little bit too far, right? I'm not saying that we're okay with that, but what I'm saying is that I don't think anyone's kicking you and saying no cars on the site. But we are saying that we want to put the conditions in there to make sure that everyone's aware of the fact that you still have an obligation, whether that be to us and or the county. We're not saying what you have to do with the county. You can argue that separately, right? But we'd like a resolution to that. And we don't want to say it's not an issue, because it always is an issue. When the county's unhappy, we're part of the county. We want to make sure that we're not saying, oh, that's your problem. It's our problem, right? So I don't think it's going to affect your operation in any way, right? I just want to make sure that the record's clear. You know, it's my recommendation to the board that they make the record clear that these things either have been done without being inspected or need to be cleaned up, okay?
Yeah.
And I think that we could do that in a way where you can continue to operate what you're doing now. It's not going to affect your business, because you don't have a building to put up where we have to say, no, we're not letting you do this. I mean, I would hope by the time you need to put a building up, that those conditions are cleaned up, because I think at that point, if it's not, then we'll have a problem.
And I think we are in agreement. Certainly, any of the work that's been done that has been inspected should absolutely be inspected. That's not the suggestion. The suggestion is simply that whatever agreements are worked out with the county, yeah, we're going to work with the county. We're going to work with the county. We've been working with the county. We'll continue to do so. Those issues will be resolved, as soon as we're able to finalize our negotiations with them.
I'll leave it to our competent attorney to put
Yeah.
language in there.
Yeah, if you-
that make
I mean-
sure that it's not, like I said, I'm not trying to make this as a serious punishment. I know that a lot of that happened before you guys got there, right? But I think we have to acknowledge the fact that there's still something open on the site.
And we're in agreement on that. We're not trying to skirt the issue at all. We're not trying to skirt the issue of sanctions being put in. That's another issue. And condom woods that was there, it's being used. Whatever needs to be inspected, obviously will be inspected after the approval. Yeah, that's not an issue. And I did not want to convey that the applicant's trying to skirt anything. We're just trying to operate with permission and clean up anything that was done that shouldn't have been done.
Right.
Yeah.
I mean, so essentially, you're doing what you need to do out there now. You're parking out there now. I don't think anyone, I haven't heard anybody say you have to kick all the cars off here. I think we want to work with you because you work with the town to get this cleaned up. You're spending money here. You've been a productive member of the community, and you expand that. So that's great. So I think we need to keep working in unison, but I think our record needs to be clear. There's still some outstanding things that need to be cleaned up.
Yeah. Yeah,
Okay.
we're in agreement on that. Yeah.
Okay. Thank you.
Mr. Cohen, did you have a question?
Yeah, I had a question for the applicant. So the use of this lot is exclusively for storage of cars?
Vehicle storage and vehicle display.
So you may have customers that may walk out on the lot, take
Yes.
a look at a car.
Correct.
Take it out for a test drive.
Correct.
Gotcha. Are there vehicles stored there for any of your other dealerships or just for Subaru?
Just Subaru, sir.
I'm sorry?
Just for Subaru.
Okay, thank you.
You're welcome.
Any further questions that you would want to pose, or witnesses you want to call up, or?
Oh, no, thank you, sorry.
Okay. Questions from the board? Questions from the public?
Good evening.
Good
My name
evening.
is Kevin Campbell. I'm an assistant county counsel for the county. This is more of a comment than a question, but I figure I'll make it now, if that's okay with the board. The comment is about, you've heard a lot of testimony from Ms. Lamello and her client, and Mr. French, and also the engineer has weighed in. And I just want to confirm what the engineer said and ask you to put conditions in regarding the county's situation. The amount of trees that were removed from behind on our parkland was over 90 trees. It's a significant amount, and it's a significant damage. It's got to be remediated. And we have been working with Ms. Lamello, and it seems to be going okay. It's not very quick, but her client is, outside the country. I understand all that. But we're going to have negotiations back and forth regarding this. So that is one condition we'd ask for, that the site permit not be issued until this matter is resolved between the two of us. The second condition I would ask for is to delineate the property with markers, monuments, or pegs, whatever you wish to call them. There's all kinds, so that they understand, and we understand too, where the property line is. And finally, we're going to ask for a fence. It's going to be a rail guide fence. They're the kind that you see along a highway. Usually they're metal. We're going to ask for wood. Between our property and their property. So that would be on the, I guess, the west side and the north side. Because our experience has been with cars, dealerships, and auto mechanics, is that cars inevitably end up on our property, parkland actually, unless there's some kind of barrier. It's not the management's fault. Management instructs the workers not to do it, but the workers are leaving at 4:30 on a Friday, and they don't want to stick around looking for parking spots. And it's been a significant problem for the county because Green Acres is on top of this because it is Green Acre land, and we're always having to go to these places and say, please remove the cars. And sometimes they don't, and then we have to issue tickets. So with those three conditions, we'd be very happy with, we'd be accepting the application's approval. There's one question, though, I do have, and it's regarding Mr. French. Mr. French, I was looking at the lighting on the proposed area, and some of the lighting, not all, some of the lighting of the serious lighting that's, around 13 or 14 was right near our borderline. If that could be remediated a bit so that it would be moved back a little bit, I don't know if this is possible, but if it could, we'd appreciate it.
Yeah, so the lights itself are not pointing in that direction.
Yeah.
They're pointing towards Route 22.
Okay.
But we could add a house side shield on there that way to better mitigate any of the spillage. But the design of the lighting is conforming with the standards that was established by the township.
I understand it.
So.
Okay, if you could put that out, just on the lights
Yes,
bordering our property.
on the back, yes.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Thank you. Thank you,
You're welcome.
ladies and gentlemen.
Yeah, and we would certainly agree to the condition on the spillage. I don't know what the details of the fencing are. Again, there's no, the applicant is not opposed to fencing. It's just, the site plan application, there's questions, right? So are we putting the fence on the county property, in essence, which is outside jurisdiction of this board? And as an applicant, I can't even agree to a condition that's not part of the site plan. That would not be a permissible condition. Again, that doesn't mean that the applicant's not going to agree to do it. It just means that I don't know how, as the board attorney, a condition can be placed in the resolution that places fencing on the county land as part of this application. So from a municipal land use standpoint, it's problematic to have that be a condition in the resolution of approval. Again, it does not mean that it won't be done. It just means it's not the appropriate forum. If the board would like to hear about the trees that were taken down, the one thing, and Kevin and I have gotten along very well in the process, but the one thing we disagree on is the number of trees that were taken down. The board has any questions about that? I know I was personally there, and Tim was personally there, and can explain the number, how they kind of got to the number. But again, I don't even believe that that's an issue. We're working with the county. We're going to, replant, whatever was requested. We're going to work on that, and it's going to be resolved. I think there was a lot of fallen trees in the back, as well as some other that were removed as part of the demolition process. But Tim could speak to that as well.
So myself and the applicant, Mr. Moraes, we personally were out there on the county property picking up garbage, and the things that we found were mattresses, dressers, hypodermic needles, truck tires, shopping carts. I mean, I believe we filled 3 dumpsters, if my memory serves me correctly. So we've been good neighbors. We're willing to work with the county, obviously. I don't foresee there ever being an issue of a car being parked on the county property just because of the amount of space that we have. There should never be a reason that happens. But we were out there literally with our own bare hands cleaning that up. Gloved hands with a needle part anyway. So, I guess the point I'm trying to make is there's not going to be an issue with that. We have made that site so much better than it was previously. It was, I'm sure you all know, it was a nightmare. And we were neighbors to the Clinton Manor for, I don't know how many years, 7, 8 years roughly. And I can only tell you the things that we saw. It was, I'm sure you all know, I don't have to get into it, but Our goal, obviously, is to continue to be great members of the community, to give back. We do pet adoption events at the dealership. We donate to the local school. We've been great members of the community. We're going to continue to do that. Having this property has been great so far for us. We've been able to increase our head count at the Subaru dealership by almost 30, which has been terrific. Revenue has been up. Obviously, we know what all comes along with that. It's very difficult right now to get into opening another dealership because all the manufacturers are losing tens of billions of dollars currently on tariffs, and their tens of billions of dollars they've just invested in EV. That has literally gone out the window, and it's very, very difficult atmosphere to operate right now. So even in our conversations with some manufacturers, they can't even entertain another point because they don't even know if they get supported at the moment. That is going to be temporary, but that's where that 2-year, window comes into play. That's challenging, to be honest. But yeah, that county property was bad. It was very bad, and I walk it personally, that back of that property twice a week to make sure nobody's putting anything there because I helped clean it up. It's personal to us, so I just wanted to add that in.
Okay,
And
just regarding,
Just the number of trees that were taken down, I mean, the number of them were fallen trees or?
Yeah, correct. There was a lot of fallen dead trees. Those obviously we cleaned up because those could be a hazard. I don't think it was anywhere near 90, to be honest with you. I didn't count every one of them, so
we did. In terms of Ms. Lamello's comment, I don't see why a fence can't be included as part of the application as a condition. This is also a safety issue, frankly. If the river's not far, and if children, run away from their parents, and often do, they could get into trouble back there. So installing a fence, I believe, would be in the best interest of the public, and it would be along the border. So there's no reason I see that this can't be done as part of a condition. Thank you.
Yeah, and again, it's not an issue with the fence. It's just a matter of, I will defer to the board attorney, but the application is the site and not the county property. It's not part of the application. It's in essence a fully conforming site plan. I don't know that the municipal land use law allows the board to require off-site improvements. In this context, it does not mean it's not going to get done. It just means that, and in essence as well, the municipality doesn't have review of county, the county property. So if the county, when the county wants to do their, somebody do the courthouse, right? They don't have to. They might do a courtesy review for Elizabeth, but Elizabeth can't tell them they can't do it, right? So it's just outside the jurisdiction. I will defer to the board attorney on that. It's just on behalf of my client, I just want to ensure that the conditions in the resolution comply with the municipal land use law, and that's really the only issue we have with the conditions. These things could be worked out. Again, the county has enforcement power over their lot, so it's not even an issue. It's probably more of a deterrent than the actual conditions in the resolution are. And again, to the engineer's point, nobody's skirting these issues. It is just a simple matter of ensuring that the proper easements are in place if they need to be put in place. It's located on the county property in the appropriate location, and the landscaping that the county requires. We're in discussions, landscaped. There's no intention to have to encroach on the county lot. The other issue as well is, the drive aisle goes around the exterior of this lot as pursuant to the redevelopment plan. Certainly that needs to be, whatever fence is there needs to be compliant with
Just
space,
one
so.
comment in response to that. I don't see any reason why it can't be an on-site improvement. The fence is not very large. I mean, it'll be maybe 1 foot at the end of their property.
Well, that's the drive aisle of the.
So if I can interject, I think this is probably not the venue to negotiate a particular condition to the resolution. That will be for matters once we have an approval on the application and a resolution is formed to memorize the application's approval with any kind of conditions to be put on it. And what I would just defer is that, you know, our board council, along with our engineer and with your team and as well with the county, to align on the details of those conditions and whatever fencing occurs and who builds it or whatever, but those details are not going to be hammered out here.
No, I never understood that.
Yeah.
Okay.
And just, I think Drew can speak to the drive aisle goes around the exterior of the building, of the lot.
Yeah, it is, but I think it's probably, not to keep going back on the same subject, I think reasonably everybody has agreed that, something's gonna get worked out. I think our request is just make the conditions so that it's palatable here, that it's not exactly what the requirements are, that we're gonna work it out with the county. That's the condition,
Yeah.
Mr. Cohen?
Question to our council. Can the, oh, he's right here.
I'm right here.
It's right here.
I'm ready to go.
Can the language in the resolution indicate something to the effect that the concerns expressed by the county be met to their satisfaction?
So to answer the question that I'm sure everyone's having, I'm certain that there's language that we can come up with that could potentially satisfy primarily the land use law, right, and all the concerns that were addressed here. The board has broad jurisdiction over certain aspects of this, but it has to be within a nexus of relation to the actual application. I think we can find a path, and I will meet with the counsel for the applicant and as well as communicate with the county to come up with language that is satisfactory and complies with the law.
Yes, agreed, and thank you.
Thank you.
So I think with that, any further comments from the public? Comments from the board? Comments from the public? And I assume, do you have any further witnesses or
No,
any
no further
closing-
witnesses, and we appreciate the board's time this evening. Thank you.
Okay, thank you.
Yes, thank
So-
you.
Yes, thank you. Can I get a motion to approve application 2026-02, 2735 Route 22 Associates, noting some of the comments made tonight in preparation for conditions to be put forth in the resolution, in collaboration with county council, board council, and the representative, and the applicant's council? Moved by Mrs. Khan. Is there a second?
Second.
Seconded by Mr. Cohan. Roll call, please.
Mr. Alexander?
Yes.
Mr. Cohan?
Yes.
Mr. Frame?
Yes.
Mr. Miller?
Yes.
Ms. Perkins?
Yes?
Committeewoman Terrell?
Yes.
Ms. Khan?
Yes.
Chairman Lay?
Yes. Okay,
Thank you.
all right. Thank you. Have a good night. With no further new business, can I get a motion to adjourn?
Motion.
Moved by Mr. Frame. Is there a second?
Second?
Seconded by Mrs. Perkins. All those in favor say aye. Aye. Meeting adjourned. Thank you very much. Have a good night.
Need those exhibits. You can take them off the board, yeah. Not the ones and things, just A1 and A2, whatever.